And it is another edition of Hoops Adjacent on the Athletic NBA show. David Aldridge here in DC. Your camera is not incorrect. That is not Marcus Thompson. That is fabulous Zena Keita.
I don't look quite like him, right? There's a little bit of
hitting for Marcus in what was his last appearance on. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't start rumors. He'll be back.
We're recording now.
Probably.
We are recording.
Oh, shoot.
Thank you for jumping in. It's so nice of you to pinch hit for us this week.
I'm always so grateful to join. I think the conversations are always wonderful. And I'm actually really, really excited for our guest. I won't take away the surprise just yet. David, you'll introduce her properly. But I'm so pumped to be meeting and talking to this particular person, considering I cover the Warriors and we have a particular opponent coming up.
There you go.
That she's tied to.
That's why the programming producer, that would be me. We have to get the fantastic Allie Clifton on this week. Allie Clifton's back. She's here. She's back on my show. You look fabulous as always. Just wonderful. You. Good to see you again. All things
Lakers. You're awesome.
All things Lakers. Yeah.
I would agree.
Give me the network again because I always mess it up. What's your network?
Spectrum Sportsnet.
Spectrum Sportsnet. I always say it wrong, so I want you to say it. All things Lakers in the studio, on the sidelines on occasion, doing it all. Two former just knockdown shooters for their respective colleges, just great players. Why I sat and watched.
Maybe Allie.
I was about to say, I think he's talking about Zena because it's not Allie.
Y'all were great.
I don't want to check the stats. I don't want to check the stats, but I'm going to just give it to Allie.
No. You all were dominant while I did stats and things like that. So we got this series. We got this Titanic series, which I may write about from afar. And this is what I'm going to write about if I have the courage. As I texted somebody, I don't know if I have the guts to actually write this, but Steph has 4. LeBron has 4. Whoever wins this series is going to be halfway to 5. When you get 5, you get in the conversation. You are seriously in the best of all time conversation. Not that you're not at 4, but 5 puts you with Kobe and Tim Duncan. In the modern era, the after Bill Russell Celtics era, 5's the number. If you win 5, you're serious. Magic Johnson won 5. So that's the caliber of player we're talking about. And of course, Michael won 6, which is the gold standard. But this to me is, the NBA is rolling 7s to get this series. These two at this stage of their careers also. And I know I don't even want to talk about the regular season because it was so different in terms of who was actually playing in those games. Like, the Lakers had a brand new team after the trade deadline. Wiggins was not playing for Golden State most of the second half of the regular season. So it's really stupid, I think, to look at the regular season and try to determine who's going to win this. I am just fascinated by this matchup. And I wonder what you guys think as this series begins about this matchup.
Zena, I'll start first. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll start. I think it's such an interesting narrative and storyline around this because you can look at it as, is it the Lakers versus the Warriors, which is kind of, the baseline foundation of this whole thing. But then there's also LeBron versus the Warriors, right? This is the 5th time that they're going to have to play LeBron. Obviously not with the Lakers. This was the first time in a non-finals situation, right? So that dichotomy is set up. Then you look at LeBron versus Steph, and you start talking about this GOAT situation. And you're looking at all of these different layers to what is the actual competition here? What is the actual goal here? Obviously to get to the Western Conference Finals, but also there's some reputational aspects of can the big 3 of the Warriors beat down LeBron again, trying to get to a finals or to win a final? Or could LeBron take down the big 3 again, right? And it's just, I'm having a lot of fun with all of the ways that we can talk about this series. And I also love the conversation about the old heads, right? These are some older players trying to make it through the first round.
5-year-olds are old. That's amazing to me.
Older players. That's why I said older. No. And it's just funny because it's on both teams, the respective best players on the court, night in, night out, are the oldest players on the roster. Yeah. And it's so impressive that we're watching this like top-notch caliber basketball. So for me, I think right now it's just fun to see. We don't even have to get into the X's and O's just yet of like who's going to guard who and all the above. It's just fun to see this narrative continue to pop up, but now in the shape of the Laker Warriors, which is like a huge California matchup in itself. So that's where I'll start.
Yeah, I think you nailed it too, Zena. And for your perspective, DA, with the NBA as a league rolling sevens this early, right, in the postseason, I mean, how lucky are we? I think Draymond really nailed it too after their Game 7 win over the Kings by simply just putting in perspective. Let's not rush away from what we still have that is so great of this league. And that is headlined by LeBron. It is headlined by Steph Curry. And just appreciate it. And I think that speaks volumes. I think it's loud and I think it needs to be heard. Yeah. I love all the narratives that come into this one. I love that the outside, of course, this is what we do now, right? We have an opportunity to sit here and look at all the fun things, the 4 versus 4. To your point, Zena, LeBron versus the Warriors 3, because I also said it too, as much as we want to say LeBron versus Steph, which is fine. And I get it. I understand it. But let's not discredit Draymond and Clay and their role in those championships, right? To LeBron continuing at this high level, what we saw simply, if you're not looking at it from a numbers perspective, but something I've always appreciated about LeBron over the years is what he can do to you from a mind standpoint. We saw that in the first round against the Grizz, right? To that narrative, the old narrative. I think that is so fun. And I didn't actually know, and Malik Monk was with the Lakers last season. I love him. I think he is obviously the microwave. He is spectacular to watch. In the way in which he twisted his words of, we're a bit younger versus Dylan Brooks that just said he's old, right? It is hilarious to me. Then on the flip side, how the more experienced veteran championship-minded players like the Draymonds, the Clays, the Stephs, the Braun, how it takes so little. They don't need the extra motivation, right? But that's all it can take for them to be like, okay, let me remind you who you are and who we are. And this is going to be fun, right? Yeah. And now you have them facing off yet again, but it's sooner than the finals. And I'm partly sad that we're going to get it this early. Yeah. But then we're going to get it this early, right?
Yeah. But that we're going to get it at all because it didn't look like it there for a minute.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
You know, I wonder, Allie, I wonder about LeBron physically right now, because this series is every other day now. It's not, you're not going to have 4 days off between games. That's just how they've scheduled it this year. And I think it's good that they're not stretching it out like they used to try to do and get three weekend windows basically for every marquee series. But on the other hand, it's every other day. It's play, rest, play, rest, play, rest. He's got the foot. I don't even think the foot's 100%. And so where is he physically right now?
Yeah, you know, Dia, you bring up a good point. And I think I learned early on too, even during those Cleveland years where he was younger, even at that time, but how players are not going to be 100%, no matter how you want to spin it or look at it at this time of year, right? And they shouldn't. The wear and tear over the course of the regular season, and obviously what you put your body through to get to this point, it's actually part of the competitiveness, right? It's part of being a part of this league and trying to win at the top. That's why only few get there. Having said that, I do listened to him when he came back with those 8 games remaining in the regular season. And he made that point where it's a situation where he's going to have to revisit the foot injury come the off season. But the one thing that I have always kind of watched from afar with him is he and Mike Mancias and their off day, morning, noon, and night, round the clock treatment to make sure that he is in a position, whether that is 70%, 80%, 90%, if he is going to be able to impact the team in a positive way, that's all I look at, right? Yeah. I think we can sit here and say that Braun is not 100%. Who would be at 38 years old, year 20? But that's where his mind, that overdrive, right? Correct. His ability, I think, again, to your point, we're going to get into more of like the X's and O's of this, but I think we saw a lot in that series against the Grizz, his ability to play off ball and allow others in the backcourt to handle the basketball and play make. I think Braun is as healthy as he can be right now. And I don't think there will be any I'm tired, I'm fatigued. None of that. We know that. Which I respect. And I'm confident that as long as his body is in a position to be between the four lines, he's going to be LeBron James that this team needs.
Yeah. Zena, I'm curious about a couple things with the Warriors just coming into the series. The main thing is, I don't think Steph, and I say this with love, I don't think Steph gets enough credit for being a cold-blooded assassin.
Because he has a baby face. That's why.
Yeah.
He's just the sweetest looking guy.
He's just as ruthless as Kobe. Like, he's 1,000%, ruthless.
1,000%. And there's quite a few within the league that are like that. Like, people don't expect that out of Trae Young.
Yeah.
Because, again, smaller guy, that seems like a sweet kid, but it's like, no. You get to the NBA, you're ruthless. Like, that's just a part of the game. Sorry, keep going.
No. I just meant his killer instinct is second to none in this league right now, to me. Like, the game 7 was remarkable for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason to me, the main thing that impressed me about Steph was not his skill or his desire, but his almost mocking the Kings. Like, you really think you're gonna guard me? Like, who you got? You know what I mean?
Right. I think people take advantage or take for granted just how good Steph is. Sometimes I think some people look at that ability to shoot the ball or the ability to come off screens or the ability to continuously move at all times and rock defenses from that perspective. They take that for granted. And he's a nice guy. And he's a relatively quiet guy when you think about the people around him, right? Yeah, sure. And so I think people take for granted that when someone plays like that, it's not from luck. It's not from, he just happened to have a really good shot. No, this is someone that day in, day out, I like the way that you mentioned that, Allie, like, just makes this a priority to be the best at his craft. In the same way that a LeBron does, in the same way that a Kobe did, in the same way that the greats do. And just because he's nice and he's sweet and he has his family and he's, relatively quiet. I thought that article with Shams and Marcus Thompson, with the speech that he gave his team, like, I got this. You just need to show up, keep the positive energy, but I got this. Yeah. That is the type of, I don't think people will look at that as like, that's kind of bravado, right? For you to be like, I got this, don't worry, like, I'll shut this down. People wouldn't expect that out of a Steph Curry, but when you're that good and you're that good, it's there. It just doesn't have to be on display. Yeah. And so I definitely agree with you that people probably take for granted just how good he is and don't attribute it to a killer instinct, a ruthlessness, and I like the way this was put on Brother from Another, an earned arrogance. Mike Smith said that about Warriors fans, but I think that's a thing that the Warriors team, you can attribute to them as well. Earned arrogance. They've earned that ability to mock, to say, really? You don't want to come out here?
Yeah.
A few feet behind the 3-point? Okay, I guess you don't know who I am. I guess you don't know Logo Curry. All right, cool. I'll let you know who I am. So it's fun to watch him. I don't know if I don't want to interrupt too much, but I did want to come back to Allie on health. Is that okay, David?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I just think, it's so amazing. I think LeBron and Steph are just like the standard when it comes to taking care of your body, making sure you're ready to play, doing the things necessary. There's another person on the Lakers team that health is a major concern with often, Anthony Davis. And knowing what, from a Warriors perspective, knowing what Kevon Looney did this past series, out rebounding Domantas Sabonis, that really, like, he's in the all NBA conversation. Yeah. He was, people talked about him for a potential MVP candidate, and Kevon put him down a rank, I would say. Knowing that Kevon is going to be such a focal point from a rebounding perspective and just a bothersome perspective within the paint, and Anthony dealing with some of these lingering hip issues, things of that sort. What are you seeing on your end in terms of how Anthony's feeling?
Yeah, I think with each passing day, the one thing that came out of the hip situation for Anthony was that it was going to be a pain tolerance versus an injury. And we know that obviously pain versus injury, they're two different things. Right. And so I think too, his ability to play through, which I think we saw in that series, which is big, not only for this squad, but also him mentally moving forward. But I also think that there is a level to, you have to meet, you are crazy if you watch that Kings Warriors series and don't think that Kevon Looney, someone who doesn't get a lot said about them, right? Because you've got those Stephs, those Clays, the ability for the Warriors, as they've always been, to shoot the 3-ball, draw so much attention, but the force Kevon plays with, that staying relentless on the glass, that is something that I'll be watching for early on, right? How you're able to withstand and handle that pressure, that physicality, because you got to meet force with force. Having said that, this is where I think when you get into the X's and O's, it'll be really intriguing, because Anthony Davis has been a monster here in the postseason in terms of rim protection.
That's the best I've ever seen him defensively. Yeah.
Me too.
Ever.
Yeah. Me too. And
this reminds me of what he got drafted for, right?
Yes.
He was drafted for defense, and people forget that. He was not an offensive powerhouse.
And it's not just like, as former basketball, it's not just drawing contact every time with the ball. He doesn't have to post blocks in the statistical category, but it's the altering of shots. It's making you as a driver think twice. And when it comes to the postseason, there's no thinking allowed, not when you want to separate yourself. And so I think it kind of goes both ways, right? Kevon brings that force. He brings that see ball, get ball mentality. I used to say about Tristan Thompson during those finals runs with the Cavs Warriors. But then you also have that rim protection. And for Anthony too, it's not just physical, right? It's not him from a physical presence per se, but his length, his athleticism, his quick, change of direction and speed, being able to do it on the perimeter and then catch you at the rim. Will the Warriors be able to play both Draymond and Kevon?
Yeah.
Right.
Because of that, not having, those two as shooters or guys who want to step out and hit a mid-range jump shot. I mean, I know Dre can knock down a 3 here and there, but those are the little things that I think when it comes to beating one or the other 4 times, it's going to really reveal itself.
Well, that's what happened in the Memphis series, because
Memphis question, Zena, I'm sorry that, with Anthony Davis in his health, that he's in a good position right now going in.
Yeah. I mean, they played off of Brooks and Roddy the whole series. Take all the threes you want. We don't care.
Pack the paint.
So I don't know if you can play with 2 non-shooters, and that gets to the question about, rotation and how does Steve play this?
Right.
Because your best lineup is with Draymond and Looney on the floor. We get that. Everybody understands that. But can you have 2 non-shooters on the floor against the Lakers, who are just great at packing it in with this, and especially with the lineup and the personnel they have now? Like, could he play? I don't.
Well,
they play. I mean, he played. They had the lineup where Draymond was coming off the bench and they were starting Poole. Can you play that lineup against the Lakers big minutes?
No.
Right? I don't think so either. Right?
I think you're going to at least have to start with how you ended, which is the rotation or the starting lineup you've had all season.
Yeah.
And I agree. The chances that we're going to get a game 5 Draymond where he had the most points he's had since 2019 again, I don't know. I don't want to count him out. He's capable of it, but it's not going to be something you can count on or strategize around. But what I anticipate is you're going to see a lot more Moody to stretch the floor, because he can shoot that ball. And he is a defensive. You can call upon him. He's been showing out in this. Maybe he's a 16-game player, and we just never knew. But Moody has been showing up during these playoffs, and so I imagine that you're going to see a little bit more of him. And I imagine that you're going to have to see more of Kuminga, particularly from a defensive perspective, because you need size. And he's, he didn't have a distinct assignment in the Kings, and so he's ready. He's got fresh legs for the Lakers, and he's got the size you need. And Kuminga can knock down that shot, and he can at least be a little bit of a threat. Now, the thing about the Lakers is they're going to ask you to make that shot first.
Yes.
Like they're going to let Anthony just float around the paint until you force him to come up or stretch out, or really for that matter. So I imagine that it's going to definitely be the starting lineup that it's been to close out the last series, but it's been all season. And then I think the first person off the bench beyond Jordan Poole to come in and, hopefully get some offense going will probably be one of the younger guys. Shoot the ball, stretch the floor.
Yeah. Allie, I wanted to ask you about Hachimura because Rui, we obviously know him very well here in DC. And Rui always played, to me, his best basketball when somebody got into him and challenged him. And when Westbrook was here, Westbrook was that guy and said, you got more, you're better than this. You can do better than this. And I wonder how have LeBron and AD handled that in terms of getting more out of him, because he certainly has played well. But I think he needs somebody better than him to make him be better than he is, if that makes any sense, or to ask him to be better than he is.
I think too, sometimes, like, let's not forget how young Rui is, essentially, when it comes to the NBA game and the NBA space. And when you're surrounded by veterans who have seen it all, done it all, right? Like, you'd be crazy to not be a sponge and want to absorb and soak in, all the ins and outs to the game. I will say what I've loved about Rui, one sidebar, not having seen him up close night in and night out, like we've been fortunate to here in LA. I didn't realize how big he was.
He's a big kid.
Big kid. I mean,
what are his like? How big is he? How tall is he? I don't know.
6'8". 6'8".
I mean,
legit 235.
And I do know he's like a strong guy.
Yeah, he's big, strong guy.
Wow.
Yes,
that part, which has been really fun to watch and kind of like develop. There was a game near the end of the regular season against Chicago where he got a DNP. Now, Darvin Ham has said it kind of, got away from him, etc. Since that moment, though, what told me a lot about Rui, you'll look at that. It was the last handful of games of the regular season to then game 1 against the Grizz, the 29 points, and his ability to continue to hit the J, be able to step up and knock down a 3 ball. There is a confidence to him that I think, DA, you nail it. When he's given an opportunity, he comes in every single day and he works out with LeBron. He's talked about it. He's got guys like Anthony Davis in his ear. He's got a coaching staff that really has instilled and believed in him here in this system in such a quick amount of time. Rui's a guy that you can rely on. And it's been fun to see. I think he's a guy who can fly under the radar at times too, because you got LeBron and AD on your side and they draw so much attention that he's just willing and ready for that shot opportunity, right? He's in the right positions defensively. He wants the challenge. I think too, as the series went on against Memphis, he just got more comfortable and more confident that there was a lot of engagement with the fans, whether it came from dunks on the fast break, not backing down to the chirping and the trash talk. A lot of that you can say a lot without saying anything at all. And I think Rui is that kind of guy. And it's crazy to think, because he came here just a couple games before the trade deadline. So have we really seen that full? No, not even close to the full potential of what Rui can bring to the squad. But I think each game he's kind of peeling back a layer and you're getting a little bit more and a little bit more. I know the fans love when he's out there. They love what he's bringing. And that confidence isn't wavering. And I think that's big.
Yeah.
I loved him. I remember the first time I really, really paid attention to him was the Japan games this year. When the Warriors against the Warriors, he was with DC, and he just kept coming down and bully balling on the post. And I was like, this kid is strong. Like, he's putting up some really great moves, but he's super athletic as well. And then that's when I started paying attention to him more. And when you talk about flying under the radar in LA, I think he flew under the radar in DC. I think there was so much going on in DC, right? With Bradley Beal being in and out with injuries, and this is even before Porzingis left. But like, I just feel like there was so much going on. Kyle Kuzma, there's just a lot of things going on in DC that Rui just kind of was like this really cool little younger guy that was really good at basketball, but like we weren't really talking about the basketball aspect in DC as much as we were talking about all the other elements into it on a national conversation, I would say. Yeah. I know you might be able to attest to that, but I really like Rui. I like him as a fan. Like, I'm really excited about him. I think he has a really strong future. I think it's funny because looking at these two teams, the Warriors and the Lakers, the very first thing you mentioned, Allie, about like, you'd be silly not to soak up the greatness of the players around you. I feel like both the Warriors and the Lakers have that element to them, especially after the trade deadline and the people that are on the team now at the Lakers. Austin Reeves, I have a space in my heart.
I'm him. I'm him.
I have a space in my heart.
That's incredible.
For Austin Reeves.
That's the best ever.
He just makes me so happy. Anytime he does, like, I mean, I can't. Was it the last game I was watching when he like did that little move to the basket, like
the Euro?
The Euro step, but like he moved, and then LeBron like mocked him afterwards when he did his move, and I was like, Austin, LeBron James is mocking you, like in a great way. I just loved it. I loved it. I get so excited. I'm him, the blood in my veins, like ice in my veins. I absolutely, I live for it, and it makes me think also of like the way that he's getting hyped up, especially at this point in the season, reminds me of the way that Jordan Poole was getting hyped up in the way of the season last year on the way to the finals. Right. And so it's just really fun seeing these younger players find themselves and also just be coached and encouraged by these historical players that they're playing alongside and finding their own little way to stardom and relevance within this league. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy to, sorry, DA, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just think it's so easy to root for the underdog. I mean, his story truly is incredible. And I think you guys will appreciate hearing this too. If you haven't got a chance to like really be around Austin, like we have over the last 2 years, is like Austin, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Not only is he this phenomenal, energetic, skilled, high IQ, though very young in terms of the NBA space. Again, he did play 4 years in college, but all of the basketball stuff, he's an incredible human being. And I know this isn't the podcast to talk about people as humans, but you know that to your point of Steph Curry, I will say Steph Curry haunts me in my sleep still as a Cavs fan, because people do know, sidebar again, I am a Cavs fan at heart. And so Steph Curry and that mouth guard, you can smile all you want, but it still haunts me. I get it. Baby face, sweet. I get it. Having said that, Austin Reeves is that guy too. He wants to engage with you from a media standpoint. He's always willing to do the interview. He's always willing to take the time to say hello, ask you how you are. And then between the lines, Doris said something during the Laker-Dallas game. The one where the Lakers came back there in the second half. So it was not the Christmas day, obviously, but the next one after the deadline. When he got in that scuffle, I forget who he got in that scuffle with. And Doris said, moments like that, when you see that from a guy like Austin Reeves, the undrafted, the just two-way to now here, he just proves and shows that he believes he belongs. Yeah. And there is a different confidence and a different swagger. You guys know that when you're able to play the game like that. Yeah. And I think we just continue to see it. And as we all know, the postseason is the time to make players who they are, right? The superstars, the stars, the great ones, they separate themselves come the postseason. And I'm not putting the cart before the horse at all, but Austin Reeves has that it factor to just be in the trenches with you. He may not be the star, but he'll be right next to you. Yeah. Whatever you need, the dirty work, the skill, the shot making, the playmaking, the guy that picks you up or the guy that'll take the hit. And I think players like that, you love to have teammates like that. And it's good for our league. It's good for the game. No, absolutely. Absolutely. The one thing that to me, the X factor in this series is turnovers. It's going to be turnovers. Because when the Warriors get crazy with the basketball, they lose. When they take care of the basketball, they win. It's pretty simple.
It's so really simple.
It's really pretty simple.
It's basics. It's basics.
Yeah. And so I wonder, like, the Lakers have guys. I think Vanderbilt's going to be important in this series for that reason, because he's kind of a long guy that can get in passing lanes and be disruptive. Austin Reeves, another guy that can do that sort of thing. And I wonder how the Lakers attack Golden State, because it seems almost counterintuitive to say speed Golden State up, but that's exactly what Sacramento did. They sped them up with their tempo, and that led Golden State to commit a lot of turnovers. But can the Lakers play fast tempo? That's not really what they do. So I wonder, Allie, can they speed up Golden State playing faster than they would normally?
The one thing I think that obviously, and Bron's going to be the best at this, right? As a leader on the floor, having been in these situations so many times with them, is you don't want to beat them in the track meet per se, but if the Lakers can rely on their defense, which is the number one defense since the trade deadline, they pride themselves to hang their hat on that end of the floor, and get you in the open floor, that's where the Lakers excel. But when it comes to having to play that half court game, your ability to be disciplined for the Lakers in the half court is going to be the difference. So to your point, you don't want to get into a track meet like this where you're both turning the ball over. Yeah. But if the Lakers can make sure that they're not taking it out of the basket all the time, meaning defending and turning you over and getting out and running, that's the run game that they need. Mm-hmm. But transition defense for them, because the Warriors are so good at capitalizing off your turnovers and your mistakes, is going to be the biggest key for the Lakers. Yeah. Like hands down, transition defense, because those 3-point barrages that they go on, Steph's ability to hit a 3-ball like it's a layup for 95% of the league in the open floor is exactly where they can kill you in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, so I don't, it's not that the Lakers can't run, because I actually think that defense is their best offense at times.
Yeah.
But their ability to be disciplined, move the basketball side to side in the half court, I think is where they can win that battle.
Yeah. Zena, they are, the Warriors are so, their confidence is so amazing to me, you know, and Kerr mentioned this the other day. They've been doing this for 10 years now. It's not like this is just, they've been doing this for 10 years.
I mean, the definition of veterans, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so the guy I wanted to ask you about is, I think Klay's got a Klay game or two in him in this series. I think we're going to have a Klay game or two, maybe. I just got that feeling. I don't know. I do too.
I was just going to say, I think he's overdue. For we didn't get our game 6 Klay. And don't get me wrong, he had over 20 points, but he had 22 points, 2 rebounds, nothing else. Yeah. So like he needs, and he's capable of a game where he takes off his baby face, because he's got one too, right? Yes, and he puts on that little growl face that he puts on. But yeah, he's definitely due for one. And this is a really great opponent to get that riled up in him, I think. Anytime there's anyone in the Western Conference, particularly Lakers and Phoenix, I think he gets excited for that matchup. I think he gets excited for the matchup against LeBron. And I think that there's the 3 of them, Draymond, Klay, and Steph, get particularly excited about that matchup against LeBron, because he knows them better than anyone else. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like LeBron might as well be Mike Brown. Like the way that the level that he's played against them,
yes,
the amount that he knows, right, the highest level, he knows their runs, like how they move, how Steph comes off of plays.
He knows their ATOs. He knows all of
their ATOs. He knows how Steph comes off of screens. He knows how Draymond sets his screens. He knows everything about them. And I think that if they can find a way to capitalize on the fact that they're going to strategize differently because of that, and Klay can get off, he's going to get so excited. And I think that that's going to feed his ability to perform even better. Yeah. I think Game 7 really pumped him up. I mean, you heard him talking about that performance, talking about his teammate just being like, Steph is the GOAT. Steph is that guy. And I think that he and himself, we've been talking about this all season. He's trying to chase, or is he trying to chase his old self? Right? Is he trying to be who he was before the injuries and blah, blah, blah. He's told every single person, stop doing that. I'm just trying to play basketball. I'm just trying to get, to win a game. And I think he saw Steph doing what he did last series. And I think that'll probably inspire him to step up and perform as well. I'm excited to see how Klay responds to this, because not only Klay used to be the Wiggins on the team.
Yeah. From
a defensive perspective. Right? Yeah. Big guy comes in, LeBron comes in, whatever big guard comes in, Klay was that person. And so, and he's moved over. We've got Wiggins now. Mm-hmm. And so he has the space to go off offensively. He has the legs to go off offensively. He is able to run in transition and get that trail spot and get that 3 up. And so hopefully that shift defensively can also open things up for him from an offense perspective. So we'll see, but I'm excited. We'll see for Clyde.
All right. So you both know Michael Thompson very well. Who do we think Michael Thompson is really rooting for in this series?
Fun fact, Michael and I were born on the same day. Different years, of course.
Same day. But yes.
We are both January 30th babies.
There you go. There you go.
Know.
I just wonder who he's rooting for. I'm just curious. I'm not.
Clay said his dad is going to be rooting for his employer.
His employer. Yeah.
Smart man. Smart man.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Smart. All right. Let's get out on this. I want a prediction from each of you. Who wins this series? Let's go alphabetical. We'll start with Allie.
Ooh, A to Z.
A to Z. Oh, that's the A to Z podcast. You've got to do this. This has to happen.
Very good.
Come on.
Oh,
and
that would
be
be
anything. I just gave you the show.
That.
You can have it. Go ahead.
You gotta think about that.
Wow.
That's legit.
That was good. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't be. Many people are saying it's going to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna, as much as we can sit here and I say it all the time, I will not bet against Steph Curry and the Warriors. I can't bet against LeBron in 7. My gut tells me though Lakers in 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Lakers in 6. Go ahead, Allie. Finish your thought. Why?
Yes, please.
No, I think Lakers. This is a very stealable. Is that a word to use for game 1?
Yes, absolutely.
If they can steal game 1. We go kind of back to what we were talking about in terms of health and stuff like that. For the Lakers, they got these 3 days off, which was big for them, closing out their Memphis series. Obviously, then you see what the Warriors and the Kings had to do, and the Warriors specifically, obviously, and the fact that this series is every other day. The one thing I will say that I think we all can agree to is that at least it's in the state of California. There's no time changes. There's quick flights, etc. So as much as we want to say it's every other day, it's here. It's just over hour flight. So I'll go Lakers in 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're back in San Francisco for a game 7.
Okay.
And then I don't know.
Right. Man. So I feel the same way as Allie does for Bron. I feel the same way about Steph. So obvious.
Fun of it, right?
That's exactly. I definitely think game 1 is stealable. It's definitely winnable for the Lakers, especially considering the Warriors just got finished. And Steph just put up 50 on Sunday. So I definitely think that game could be. The Warriors show that they like to play with their food in series 1. So that's what makes me think that this is probably going to go more games than it probably should for anyone going to the Western Conference Finals against, I'm going to say the Nuggets, but we'll see. So I think, I don't know. I think probably Warriors in 7.
Wow.
Warriors in 7. I think Warriors in 7.
Gotcha.
I was a girl that was Warriors in 5. All right, for Sacramento. I was Warriors in 5. And then with each game, I was like, okay, we like to have some fun, it seems. We like to keep it spicy, I guess. So you know what? So. Warriors in 7 because of that performance.
Yeah. Well,
what are you, DA?
I think home court is going to matter not at all in this series. I don't think there's going to be. I will be shocked if there aren't at least 4 games won by the road team in this series. I just think LeBron's too good. LeBron is not going to care about Chase Center, and Steph's not going to care about Staples Center or whatever they're calling it now.
Crypto.com Arena.
Crypto.com.
Oh, Crypto.com Arena. Thank you.
You're not going to care.
Allie.
These are guys that are. These guys are built to destroy home court advantage, to win on the road. They're built for this. Their whole careers have been the fact that Steph put up 50 in Sacramento and you go, is that, and you literally have to, there's only, the only other thing you can compare it to in recent history is LeBron scoring 48 in the Garden. You know what I mean? So you just go, these guys can do that. So I think this goes, if it goes any less than 7, I'll be shocked, just because I think it's going to be a back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
No one game is going to matter in the next game at all. My guess is that over 7 games with very little time off, I think LeBron and AD physically may wear down just enough over 7 games that the Warriors win like an 89-86 type of game 7. Like it's not
the
going
Warriors
to be pretty
win
in game 7. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Okay.
He's saying Warriors win.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not because I think I don't think they're demonstrably better than the Lakers, because I don't. I just think I'm suspicious. Suspicious is the wrong word. I think LeBron's foot is hurting. I think he's going to play and do the best he can, and he'll have some really good games. But I just think that the schedule does not favor them because they're already injured. And when you're already injured and you don't have any time off, you tend to stay injured or get worse. And that's the only reason why I think the Warriors will sneak this series out. But what does that mean? It's absolutely nothing.
We started this conversation with the NBA rolled lucky 7s on some of these matchups, right?
Yeah.
Particularly this one. But man, they rolled some ugly numbers when it came to injuries this season.
Yes.
I think so many of these series have been decided or are being impacted severely, significantly at least, by injuries. And it's unfortunate because you're not getting to see the full ability of certain teams to perform because, their main players or big players are sitting out. And this isn't like a number 2, number 3 guy. This is Giannis. This is Joel Embiid. These are the major players, particularly on the East Coast. But yeah, I do think that hip injury with AD, LeBron's foot, those things are big. And then seeing how the Lakers bench are going to step up.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a D'Lo. It could be D'Lo shocks everybody and scores 40 in game 7. That could happen.
He is crazy.
It could happen.
No, it's crazy, but it's
insane.
kind of
he doesn't care.
To your point, I think too, like we've all learned how important health is, and in my brain as well. It's like everyone wants to win as fast as they can, right? The sooner you're able to get a series over and you're able to get yourself some rest, if that's even a thing. I think that's too where my mindset comes in. Like if the Lakers have an opportunity to close this out quick, it's because they're locked in, they're focused, right?
Yes.
They're able to be efficient, be effective. And because if you're not fully healthy, and I mean that from a standpoint, even where your bodies are at this point of the season, we understand the wear and tear, but if you have an opportunity to do your job, do it well early and often, like that should be the goal, right?
Yeah.
If you got to go to 7, if you push, then
I think you're right, Allie. If the Lakers want to win this series, they got to get it done quick.
Quick.
I agree with that. I agree with that for sure.
But they're not going up against anything light, that's for sure.
No. And
it's similar on the Warriors side, want to get it quick because Warriors, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, big 3, and they're playing a lot of minutes. Like Steph's playing 38, 39 minutes a night.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And so they'll want to get it done quickly as well.
Yeah. I don't think they can get it done quickly though. Because to your point, I think the Lakers have a great chance to win game 1 by a great chance to steal game 1. And it's going to be, and it's a tough turnaround for Golden State too. So that's what's in the Lakers' favor, is that this is a really quick turnaround for Golden State. Like
it'll be so much fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that's why this is great, because I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't either. So all you people that want to at Allie for game 6 Lakers and 6 whatever, go away.
No.
I really don't know.
You already know there's going to be comments like, what are they
just
doing?
Enjoy the series.
Enjoy it.
Everybody just enjoy the series. And enjoy the soon to be created A to Z podcast with Allie, Clifton, and Zena Keita. I think that's a great idea by me. And I think you should run with it.
By me. and you'll have to produce it, right?
I don't
You're
produce
up.
it.
You're volunteering.
I'll be your first guest. How about that?
He's like, I'll give you guys the workload, but you guys do the work, okay?
Grenade. Dropping a grenade, walking away. There you go.
There you go. All right. I love you two both to death, and thank you for doing this. It's wonderful. And I love talking hoops with y'all. I just love being around you because you're so smart and you love the game like I do, and I like people like like basketball. So that's what I enjoy very much. So good luck to your respective teams. And to those of you listening at home or wherever you're listening, you leave that 5-star review on Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to us. And as Marcus always says, if you're not going to leave 5 stars, keep that rating to yourself, you haters.
I was going to do it for you. I was ready. I was ready. I thought you were ready. Toss it to me.
I didn't know that you knew the punchline. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's amazing.
Next time. Thank you both so much. Enjoy the series. Enjoy the playoffs. And we're out.